In order for us to begin, we would require some tools, and in no particular order, we have our 1 yard of cotton fabric, chalk, scissors, office pins, and elastic. So as usual, I like to start with my back piece, even though we're cutting identical pieces. So for our measurements, the wideness is going to be 20 inches. We'll add an extra inch for joining of the sides. So we'll chalk it out. I'm trying not to make any serious markings on the fabric because it's white. I don't want my outfit to be stained with chalk, so I'm just drawing on it lightly. Then for the length, I'll be using 16, but I'll add 1 inch to it for folding of the top and the bottom, because we'll fold the top and the bottom by ½ inch each. Then I chalk out the outline. After we've chalked, we will cut out the first piece, and that first piece is what we're going to use to cut out our second piece, because they are identical pieces. So having cut out our 2 pieces, the next thing for us to do is to work on the sleeve. So I'm just keeping the 2 pieces aside to pick up fabric, fold for the sleeve. So for the sleeves, the dimension we'll be using is 5 inches wide and 12 inches long. So these dimensions will actually fit a very slim person, like a size 6 and a size 8. So I'm cutting out 2 pieces because there are 2 sleeves for the top. After getting out all our pieces, the next thing to do is to bend the top and the bottom of the 2 large pieces by ½ inch. That was why we added the extra 1 inch allowance to the length. Okay, so I'm just pinning like so to help like a guide when I'm stitching. ½ inch all the way, ½ inch all the way, top and bottom. So I'll do that for the second one too. So after joining the pieces together, I would like to press as usual. Remember that getting a flatter look makes it look better and more appealing. Okay, so I'm cleaning my iron first because it's white fabric, so I have to be careful. So I'll press. I'll press the 2 pieces to make sure that it's smooth. After which we will move to measuring the places where we'll be placing our elastic. Our elastic is going to be placed on along the length of 3 different spots on each of the 2 big pieces. Yes, the same measurement for the front piece and the back piece. So any part of the pieces can be the top or the bottom. After we've decided on that, I'm ironing the second piece. After we've decided on that, I'm going to open my first piece, and then for the part I decided will be the top, I'm going to measure 1 inch. I'll just chalk lightly. Remember that I don't want to have chalk stains on my white fabric. I'll just chalk lightly. Then, to make things easier, I'm going to use the iron to make an impression, so that when I'm trying to sew, it will be easy for me to just sew along that perfectly straight line. I'll use the iron to press to create an impression. So that impression you are seeing is where we're going to place our elastic from side to side. Remember to also stretch to pull the elastic as you're sewing to help to form a fuller gather. Then after the first impression, we're doing the second one. It's going to be 8 inches from the first impression. So from the first impression, place your table and chalk 8 inches lightly, remember. Then we'll use our iron to form an impression to make it easier when sewing. So we'll do that to the second piece of fabric as well. Then after we've gotten these 2 impressions, we will make a third impression, but then I'll mention that to you when we get there. Okay, so I have made the 2 impressions for the 2 front and back pieces. So we're making the last one. The last one is going to be 2 inches away from the 8 inches mark. 2 inches away from the 8 inches mark. That's 2 inches away from the second impression. So as usual, we'll chalk lightly and then we'll fold to create a third impression to make it easy to sew. I'm pressing. I'll do that for both sides so you can see the impressions that have been created. 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So the next thing for us to do after this time is to add our elastic. Get your elastic ready. The elastic we're using is about 1/2 inch. It's going to give it this smoked effect. So I'm cutting out 12 inches long piece of elastic. That one I'm going to use to cut 6. Remember that we made 3 impressions on each big piece. 3 impressions on the front piece, 3 impressions on the back piece. So we'll need 12-inch long elastic to place on it. So I place it from that side to that side like so. So it's very easy. It has been done. You can see the smoked effect that it's creating. That's the top part. Now we have only one top part. We can't use the other part as the top. So because I stretched it very much as I was sewing to form a boulder gather, I had a little bit of excess elastic on the side. That is what I am cutting off. So now the next thing for us to do is to seal the sides by 1/2 inch. Remember that we added 1/2 inch when we were cutting in the beginning. So I'm just going to sew. You see that each of the marks match perfectly. Front and back matches to they match perfectly at each point. So I've cut off my extra loose threads. The next thing for us to work on now is our sleeves. So for our sleeves, I'll be using a 10 inches long elastic, and for this we'll be cutting out 4 pieces. That's for the top and the bottom of the longest sides of each sleeve that we cut. Yes, so cut out 4, 2 for each. 2 for each. Then we'll just place over a fold, 1/2 inch fold. We'll place over it, and remember to also stretch, which is what I have done. So it has given us that same smoked effect now for the sleeve. Yes, so for the 2 sleeves now, we are going to seal the sides for our off shoulder top. We're almost done. We'll seal the sides by 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Having done so, you can see what it looks like. The next thing for us is to join. Thank you guys for staying tuned to the end. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. See you.